Welcome back to Creative Control, the podcast where we dive into music, God, and the intersection of faith and creativity. Today on our show, we have well-renowned writer, comedian, and actor, and my cousin, Zavior Phillips. Welcome to the show, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, sir.
That was quite an introduction.
Yeah. I mean, it's true, though. I mean, you
we are cousins. It's true.
Yeah. You also made me say the other things, but, you know.
Asked nicely, I guess.
Yeah. So, okay, for those who don't know, to the best of your recollection, how did we meet?
Oh, whoa. How did we, as cousins?
How did we meet?
Well, when a man loves a woman.
Whoa.
Hey. No. Okay. And we're going to slice that. How did we meet? Whoa.
Yours is going to be different than mine, you know?
For sure.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what's our first memory I have is going out to freaking Bell Buckle.
Yeah.
And being like, where are we?
Yeah.
And
Common
and going, you guys had a pool in your backyard?
Yes.
I remember swimming in the pool in your backyard.
Mm-hmm.
Is kind of the first thing that comes to mind.
That's good. Okay, you like kind of became conscious like in our pool.
Yeah. I would say so.
Yeah. No, what's funny is like that's obviously not my first recollection of you. I remember you when you were a baby, but that pool actually popped into my head because Dustin talks about you guys being in the pool and you trying to drown him.
Okay, this is crazy. Dustin has this
We're going to do this right now. Yeah, we're going to clear like creative control.
And Dustin's here. You bring him out.
We're going to do this on creative control. Yes.
Listen, here we go. Dustin has this recollection that like I like bullied him or something.
Yes.
If anyone who knows Dustin, that boy is a bully.
Yeah.
Especially back then.
Yeah.
That boy was a monster.
I think he would say that is what turned him.
I was his Joker origin story.
Like you put him under the water, you know, and he came back up.
That's wild. Wow. Baptized
like a reverse baptism.
Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. I remember one time him like pushing me off a trampoline.
Yeah.
So I guess we kind of are rivals. I didn't realize that. Okay, good to know. That's crazy.
Okay. So we were at you just headlined Zanies last night. We saw you there. You killed. Amazing.
Thank you.
Great roster of comedians. And that was what was the name of that show?
Zavior Phillips and Friends.
Zavior Phillips and Friends. Yeah. So is that format like a little different than just like doing a show touring? Like, did you actually set that one up?
Yeah, I mean, I like the and Friends format. Like right now, I'm currently at a stage where I'm like trying to build out my hour. So I'm not necessarily like trying to run my full hour right now. I'm running like half hour here, like 45 minutes here, and trying to try out different pieces in different slots and figure out like basically what the entire, piece is going to be. And so the and Friends format, I guess, is just a way to like get some other comics in there. It's also a way to just like highlight other comics that I really like.
So you like handpick.
Yeah. I choose all the comics that are on the show. Cause like I didn't really get my start in the Nashville scene for comedy, but I come back enough that I'm like able to see people and be on shows with people and love just like acknowledging those people that I have been on shows with and think are really funny and, bringing them up on stage and stuff and like using my platform to, be able to put those people on.
Mm-hmm. And so like you are, like we said, a comedian, actor, writer. How did you get into these art forms? Like what was your entrance into kind of the comedy world?
Yeah. Well, I was a big theater kid. So that was a huge thing. Famously a theater kid, if you couldn't tell already. But I think that obviously was my big. I also was always upset because I was always typecast as like the funny sidekick. Yeah. Usually with like an accent or something. So I was like Sebastian.
In these
plays. Yeah, in these musicals where I'm like, I probably could have been like, should I have been the lead in Aladdin? Yes. Are there many people who look like they could play Aladdin in Murfreesboro, Tennessee?
Yeah.
No. Was Aladdin a very pale white man? Yes.
Right.
And did they cover my brown skin with blue paint so I could play the genie?
Okay, man.
Yes.
There's a couple of ways that could have went with Aladdin that I was getting really scared about.
Okay.
When of who they could have cast you as, you know.
I see.
I wasn't. Once you said the blue skin, I was like,
right,
okay,
right.
all right.
No,
yeah.
I was the genie. Abu was not a character in the stage production.
I was worried.
No, so we're safe. That would be crazy. They make Aladdin a white man, and that's no.
We'll take genie.
Yeah, we'll take the genie. But yeah, so I did a lot of theater and stuff growing up. Then went off to college and did a lot of like comedy and was doing improv and sketch and still performing and writing short films and all this stuff. And I think like through that is when I realized that like I'm getting enough like positive feedback and validation that I'm like good at this, that I think like when it's time to enter the real world and pursue a career, like that I could actually make something out of this.
Mm-hmm. Were there other creative, like when you were kind of finding yourself creatively, were there other outlets that you considered other than like comedy?
Actually, music for a little bit. Like I have always loved music. Obviously, my father, famously incredible drummer and musician, and so like music was always in our house. And I would like write little songs back in the day, and would write little very cheesy like little love songs. Mm-hmm. But I think, I got to call. I mean, I still kind of, there are some times where they kind of mix. Like I have some comedy songs that I sometimes perform in my act and stuff. But I think I quickly realized, like, just from like a young age, like comedy was so clearly a place that like I stood out, and that was like immediately a characteristic that everyone said about me, and motivated me to continue, pursuing.
Yeah, I mean, music-wise, we have a little bit of history too.
I mean, we're gonna get into it.
You know
we can get into it. We want name drop.
Your Imani the Hooligan days. We had a track or two.
We did.
Summer camp sessions. Was
S'mores?
S'mores. I'm not gonna lie, that song is underrated.
I agree.
That song is underrated. I don't know. I think when we drop this podcast, I'm gonna have to post about it because
as you should.
Yeah.
I was looking at your Spotify list and I was like, it's not in the top 5, which was interesting to me.
Well, it's not even on Spotify.
And that's the problem. Because it would get too big. And you'd be scared that everyone would be begging for the hooligan.
That was the worry. Initially.
I get that.
I think now we can do it though.
Okay. Listen, I'm down. I actually like it does come up every now and then, like Imani the Hooligan. For context, this is my rap alias. That I used in high school. I dropped 2 mixtapes on SoundCloud. In high school. Under Imani the Hooligan, and one of them on your. I think they're still up on SoundCloud.
Shoot,
so you can check them out. I like sometimes people have made fun of me because I would like show them to people, and like I at times would like hit on people and use that.
Like,
I got
just
this
dropped a project.
Like I would say it like kind of like, it was like ironic, but like, I'd be like, oh yeah, I dropped these 2 mixtapes on SoundCloud in high school. Isn't that crazy? And I'd be like, but we should listen to them probably.
Kind of like check the temperature. Like,
yeah.
I just, I dropped a project on SoundCloud. It's pretty cool, stew.
Yeah, whatever you think is probably the correct answer. And
amazing, attractive.
Yeah, probably hot for me to do.
Yeah.
And then I'd also play it and I'd like be like, man, this is so silly, this is crazy, it is so long ago, but also be like, I want them at the end to be like, wait, that's actually pretty, I'm like, man, this sucks, dude. And they're like, it's actually like pretty good rapping. And I'm like, if you think that, whatever, dude.
I thought it was, I'm trying to remember your verse. I definitely thought it was fire. I remember us recording. I think Mowgli recorded you.
Yeah.
At his
place.
Like, I think, were we still in college? Like me and Mowgli? Because you were in.
It was like in one of those like MTSU
because it was in the
dorms
it was in the
like,
MTSU. Yeah, and recorded. We're gonna have to bring that.
Wait. Okay. The time I also remember I was like, you like text me about it. And I was like, I'm locking in, dude. And I was like, I'm going crazy.
It's like that meme of Gunna like with like a piece of paper and the pins on fire. You're just like
I was
going crazy,
insane. I was like, The time has come for Dill to finally introduce me. Listen close, I'm about to spit it. Listen close, I'm about to kick it off like Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
They started off slow, but now I'm flowing out profusely. Oh no, I lost it. Dang. But you could tell where that was going.
Yeah.
You could tell that was fire.
Yeah.
It was great. And I started going, oh man, I was killing it.
I know when you were writing, you were like, man, this is, bro, this is like, this is,
yeah,
we got to bring that back up. Okay. So you have lived in LA. You moved back, right? Or no?
No.
You live in LA right now?
Yeah.
Okay. So grew up here in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
And then moved to LA to further pursue your comedy career. Yeah. How was that move, like culture shock wise? Or was there culture shock?
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting, cool, because I went to college in Chicago, so stopped there, and then went out to LA. So I mean, all of those places are very different places. In terms of like LA and Nashville, I think honestly, well, a big thing is just like the fact that most of the people in Los Angeles like work in the entertainment industry. Like most of the people I interact with are also pursuing these creative things.
Yeah.
And so like that's a whole, so it's not even really considered like impressive to be trying. It's like everyone's trying to do it versus like, it's funny because when I first told people in Tennessee that I was moving out to LA, everyone was like, "Oh my God, like congrats.
You've already made it." Yeah.
I'm merely paying 3 times your rent.
Yeah.
to just not have to be unemployed.
Right.
So
yeah.
So I think that's a big difference is like I mean, it's nice because the creative energy, like so many of my friends are also doing the same things and we're able to collaborate and share scripts and like work on each other's jokes and help each other out and stuff like that. But yeah, it's definitely a different. One of the biggest things with LA and Chicago, and I've also spent a good amount of time in New York, is just like the kind of mystery of the South that so many people have never been. I have so many friends like from college who had never been to the South, and we like went. Some of my friends, we went on a trip to Gatlinburg and like went out in Nashville as well for like a few days, like a few months ago, and it was their first time in the South ever, which was like a crazy thing to me that they don't understand. Like the people who live there and in like half the country.
Yeah. Which both of us have, like, we've lived in multiple places in the country. So you've lived in New Jersey. I don't know how old you were when you moved.
I was young. It was young? I was like 6 when we moved out of Jersey.
Yeah. But like, I mean, that's similar to me when we moved out of California, but it's like our families in general, like they're from California. So our parents like carry that culture with them. And then they've also moved multiple places. We've moved multiple places. So it is kind of like, it is easy to take for granted. Like, oh, you don't know what people like are in this region at all. Like, or you don't know how like society is in this region at all. And it's like, it's shocking to you. Yeah. And I've seen you like kind of play on that in your sets a lot.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think, that's like, I kind of feel very fortunate and like blessed to have had that experience because I now at least have somewhat of an understanding of how all of these people think and like approach life and like going out in LA. Like like a lot of people in the South have never also been to LA or New York and have like misconceptions about that. So going out and spending time in, Los Angeles and be able to like actually know what people living like there are like and how they operate and how they think, but then also, growing up here and understanding how people very different from LA, but how they think and how they operate, what their motivations are in life and stuff. And it's interesting, like, because I mean, my goal, like with a lot of my comedy is to kind of point that out and like realize that kind of, it's just kind of like cheesy or whatever, but like realize that we are actually really similar and that the times that we're like fighting about those differences, we're kind of like being hypocritical because like we're making the same mistakes. We have those same kind of like flaws or the same blindness to these certain things. And just like having me being able to have the perspective of understanding these very different environments is really helpful, I think, in terms of like just seeing a bigger picture.
Yeah, that's such an interesting concept. So like one of the motivating factors for your expression of art and comedy is to kind of like bring people together and showing them how we kind of have the same biases and operate the same, but maybe the issues or the semantics are different, but we kind of have a tendency to otherize people.
Yeah.
And maybe if we can see that in ourselves, then we won't separate ourselves from other people who aren't like us.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing is like, I'll like tell the same jokes in LA as I do in Tennessee. And like they'll get laughs in both places. Sometimes it's a laugh at a different part or a laugh for a different reason.
Yeah.
But like, that's why I like kind of hitting on both of them. Like I have a bit about, you know, how I experienced racism in the South.
I was just about to bring this up because this is, I think this is like the greatest, or not the greatest, but it's a very great, one of your great illustrations of kind of that point you just brought up. So yeah.
Well, yeah, I just have this bit about how I have experienced racism in the South, and a lot of people, like when they think not from the South, when they think of the South, they think about like it's discriminatory and, you know, the racism and all that stuff. But how I moved to Los Angeles and like people hate me for being an Aquarius.
Yes.
And people like hate me for my astrology. And like, okay, that's another thing that I have no control over.
Yeah.
It's just kind of how I was born.
Yeah.
And also like sometimes people actually hate you for that. I went to I went to a party in Los Angeles the first week I was there.
Yeah.
It was a party and these are just facts that I'm laying out. It was a party of almost exclusively lesbians.
Yeah.
And they very into astrology. And the first question they asked was, what is your sign?
Yeah.
I said Aquarius. And multiple of them turned away and walked
like
away.
True story. Like
actually, they turned and walked away.
that was the end of I'm not interested in learning
I think
anything.
I won them back over by the end because I proved I wasn't really an Aquarius.
You're one of the good ones.
I'm one of yeah.
To further illustrate.
I'm not like them.
Yeah.
But so it was, I mean, that, you know, obviously is funny. They were nice. But yeah, like an example of like that of like, oh, well, we do have these things that we do choose to identify people in a certain way and categorize them no matter where you are. And you are going to make judgments based on that.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And it's like acknowledging that obviously like overall societally, like racism has had a bigger impact on like, there's no like legislation that's like Virgos shouldn't vote. That isn't a real thing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, it's just hinting at like, oh, maybe we do have some flaws that we can see in each other. It's kind of a mirror, you know, that can help you somewhat empathize with people that you see as like incredibly different from you.
Yeah. Well, it's tribalism either way. To varying degrees. Obviously, racism and astrology are not the same thing.
True.
But
and we want that on record.
I think I'm brave for saying that. You know?
But one podcast that's going to say that. We're going to look you in the eyes.
But I think it does like touch on just a deeper thing of like of humans tending to be tribal.
Yeah.
And when you're part of one tribe, I feel like especially in America right now, you feel like you are the accepting tribe.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Like we are the tribe that accept people, but I think pointing that out can be healing, you know, and especially what I appreciate about comedy so much is, I mean, there's many things, but the ability to kind of touch on real subjects like that and the human condition and different things that like, maybe we don't love about ourselves or we see as a negative thing in somebody else, but we don't see it in ourselves. Like comedy can be a mirror, you know, it can like hold a mirror up, but it's in a way where it's like the medium itself feels kind of, like it's not alienating you. It's like you can laugh at yourself. Like there were people there last night who were very into astrology and you're telling that joke about like astrological racism. They're laughing. I'm looking at them and they're laughing in the way of like, we do that. That's kind of crazy.
We are kind of like racist. That's probably not what they're thinking about.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, talk about that. Yeah.
I mean, I think that's one of my favorite parts about comedy as well is using like the lighthearted, like silly nature to actually talk about something. Like
Yeah.
most of my setups are like, I'm just saying how I actually feel about something.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to use irony and satire and a pun or something to kind of soften the blow, but it's going to like hit on something that I actually genuinely feel deep down at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like that's what I love about comedy is the ability to deliver things in a way. And I mean, I similar to talking about like music, like using art as a way to soften these conversations a bit. Cause I think when it's just words, just like thrown at you, people can get really defensive. But if someone's, takes their wall down a little bit to listen to music or watch comedy, they're more willing to accept whatever kind of, I don't want to say like criticism, but whatever kind of conversation is being brought up by like the person on the stage.
That's true. Yeah, it's like, it helps facilitate conversation. I like that. It's not necessarily like you said, like a criticism, but it just helps facilitate conversation. It's like, it feels like it's in stark contrast to like the other day I was trying to, for some reason, my car is a whole different story, but like I was trying to get the aux cable to work and it didn't work. And the radio came on to some like, I guess like talk news, like channel. Just, I never use my radio ever. It's always on aux, but like the radio came on and they're talking about politics, and that's not something I usually listen to, like that format of like, this is political talk radio and this is what we do 24/7.
Yeah.
And the way that it was just like, it was really funny. This is all right. I usually don't do this on a podcast, but this was really funny. So it's Joe Biden talking, and it's him doing his speech, like, I guess his stepping down speech or whatever. Just kind of, he's just kind of like summarizing everything, whatever. That's the first thing I hear when I turn the radio on. It's him. And I'm like, oh, I guess this is like a goodbye speech or something like that. And it just feels like a wrap up. He sounds like healthy. So I'm like, oh, that's good. Cause I didn't know what was going on, Sounds like he's not sick anymore. Sounded just like a general cool little speech, there was nothing in it that was like, he's leaving. He's not like making any new, you know what I mean? He's just like, here's some cool things I did. Let's keep going, and then he gets off. So I was like, oh, I guess I'm listening to, I don't know, like I don't even know the station, but maybe it's like CNN or maybe it's NPR and they're playing this live speech. Yeah. He gets off, dude comes on and is like, now I know. He's like, now I know that y'all might be thinking that was a nice little speech. That was a unifying speech. This wasn't a unifying speech. This was a divisive speech. They're going to try to convince you that it was you. And I'm like, oh, whoa. Like I wouldn't have got that just from hearing the speech itself. But anyway, all that to say, it's like comedy, music, I feel like a lot of art in general, it like stands in stark contrast of that a lot of times. There are some musicians, some comedians who take that same approach. Yeah. But a lot of times in the arts, it's more like, man, can we zoom out and look at this holistically and look at this in a bigger way and look at ourselves as well? Like a lot of introspection, which is like, I think that's missed when it's just, I don't even know what to call that format that I was hearing, but like when it's just like, we have a tribe and we have an ideal and we talk about our tribe all day long. Yeah. Whereas art is like, we're all a part of this experience of being here and living, and yes, of course, everybody has I have strong beliefs, like everybody has strong beliefs but we still have to live with each other. Yeah. For sure. Like everything, all atrocities of history come from people being like, those people are so much not like us that I don't even know if they're humans. Yeah. And then somebody else is like, yeah, I kind of agree with you. And then somebody else is like, matter of fact, they're not humans. And then it just gets worse and worse. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, that was like a rambling, but like.
No, I mean, I like what you were hitting at there about like the idea that we have to still coexist at the end of the day. And that's why I think I like the conversation approach versus the like critical approach. I mean, yeah, like you said, like there are some people who are kind of there. I know some comics who are like, they just will hate one side and they just make jokes about that. And that is one way to do it. But like the reason that I like doing jokes that like touch on, oh, aren't we all kind of human? You know, don't we have kind of like similar flaws? They have different impacts on different people, but like maybe if we registered that, then we can at least like start to acknowledge those similarities and start to maybe understand. Like I'm a big proponent of like starting from a place of like, I'm gonna at least try to understand you before I like want to argue with you. So
important.
Like I need to get what you're even saying. Like I even think so much about like for me when I perform, I'm very particular about like the words that I use. And even when I like just speak and have conversation, because like I think so much division and so much conflict in our world is due to like just miscommunication and like we're using the same words to mean different things or using different words to mean the same things. And it's like, okay, but if you just like stopped to think about like what they actually meant, like I know they said that, but what did they actually mean?
Right.
And like, what was their intent? Like I'm a proponent of like why over what. Yeah. Like I'm not going to listen to like, I'll listen to what you say, but like, I care more like why you said it or what like the deeper thing is of what you're saying or why you're doing something. Even if you made a mistake or you slipped up or you said this the wrong way, like I would much rather care about, okay, you said this wrong way. Hey, next time, if you could phrase it like that, then we'd be on the same page much better. Yeah. And we can just address it versus people are like, anytime I see something that's like, people are so divisive over like one word that someone said. I'm like, okay, well that's, we're human beings. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. And that doesn't even work in interpersonal relationships. Like, I mean, you know, as a married person, that does not work. Like it does not work to be like, well, you said this though. Like, and that's my personality. Like, that's my type of thing is like, I mean, I work with words all day long and I'm a very much like words mean something, you know? And like, even, my pastor like counseled me, and he was on here the other week, but he was saying that words have usages more than they have meanings.
Whoa.
So like, because we know that's just from like the same word will have a different usage, like decade over decade. Yeah. You know what I mean? And you're bringing in also like, why the person said what they said. You know, these are a lot of nuances that we're bringing to conversation that I think are stripped out when we're having more of the tribal speak, so to speak. It's like, why, like you said, why did they say that? What were they actually trying to communicate? You know, and then with the usage conversation, it's just like, there's probably something deeper, especially in conflict. Yeah. Like, especially in conflict, what is the pain point here? What is the hurt here? What is the fear? Most like conflict is fear. Yeah. You know?
Yeah. No, that's so true.
Yeah. And but I just like how, and maybe that's like even a reason that music and comedy can be disarming is because like the fear element is turned down. Like when you're laughing, you know what I mean? Like last night I wasn't, there's a lot of things in my life that I have, you know, anxiety and stress about. Yeah. Usually when you're watching a comedy show, you're not feeling those things. Yeah. Even if right after you're feeling them or right before, you know, like the anxiety and the fear is turned down. So maybe it's easier to accept different ideas than when you are in a fearful state, you know?
That's also funny because that's when my anxiety and fear is highest, is when I'm the one on
when
the
you're
stage.
performing.
Yeah. So I kind of take everyone in the audience's anxiety and fear and I kind of let that come out in very chaotic riffs on stage. Which is fun. Yeah. But, no, I mean, I think like the thing about like words is super interesting. Like I even like remember like growing up in church and I would hear like whole sermons about like, this is what this word meant when they used it.
Oh yeah. Like Greek and Hebrew kind of.
Yeah, and like translations and stuff. And it's like so difficult when you're getting into like, I mean, those are like the important conversations though, I think is like, because again, like when we're talking about things, like when you're talking about faith, you're talking about like race or politics and these things that are very important and very personal, like words, figuring out like what a word actually means and giving it context and giving it like
context. Yeah.
Like that's really so important.
Yeah. 100%. So you're speaking about like the fear that you have as a performer. Are you able to watch comedy as a pure fan at this point, or does it feel like a little bit of work when you're watching?
Yeah, that's a great question. Definitely I would say no, not as a pure I mean, I don't watch comedy as a pure fan anymore. Like I watch it and I am a fan of it, but there's always a piece in my mind that is processing it, that's trying to figure out what the punchline is. If I liked a joke, then I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, how did they set that up?
Yep.
That was really good. How did I not figure that out? Oh, that's because they said it that way and they led me in that direction. Like I also like love the like science of comedy and love figuring like when I like get a bit down, I can get in the nitty gritty and I'm like, I also can get pretty like rhythmic with it, like music and stuff. So I'm like moving syllables.
There is
so that the rhythm, like it's so important and like the pacing and everything. And so when I'm watching, even when I'm watching like TV shows or movies or anything, I'm like trying to, and sometimes people watching with me will get annoyed because I'll like predict. And like the more knowledge you have of these things, the more you can see. Like even now, like I'll see like a camera angle and I'll be like, okay, well someone's gonna pop out, like that's setting that up. They'll like hold on like a key for really long, and I'm like, okay, well that's gonna open the door. Like just like small things like that you catch the more like knowledge of the art that you have. But I still enjoy it. Like I am a very easy laugh, which I like. I love laughing, and I think it's fun. Like sometimes people enjoy kind of being a little like, they don't laugh. It's hard to make them laugh. Like, and I'm like, well, that sounds so much less fun. Why would you not? You don't want to laugh? That sucks.
Yeah.
Like I'm a very easy laugh. Which I like.
Yeah, I think I would have to be that way as a comedian, because the reason I asked you is because like I'm the same way with like rap. Yeah. Rap music. Like it's just like you love comedy. It's my favorite genre, like by far. But it's hard for me to be a pure fan, like while I'm listening or if I'm at a show. Yeah. Like, just like you said, I'm thinking about the cadences, like the rhyme schemes, like how they set up a concept, where they're going with it, how they got into the hook, what decisions they made with song structure. And it's like the only time that I can feel that like pure fandom that I used to feel is if I'm listening to a song from before I was a professional. Yeah, whoa. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's the only time I can, like, if I listen to stuff from like, middle school and high school, then it's just pure fandom. But like anything after that it's very tough. And so I think it'd be tough as a, like, comedy to me, I get to be a pure fan, right? Yeah. So I'm like, dang, bro, that would be tough if you picked comedy as your outlet and now like laughing is gone, which is like, I mean, you said like you're an easy laugh, but like, I would be afraid of that. Like, oh, now I can't even like just sit and enjoy comedy. Is there like for me, if I want to feel that through music, that like experience of just being a fan, then I listen to other genres. Yeah. So a lot of my favorite songs, even though hip hop is my favorite genre, a lot of my favorite songs are from other genres because I'm able to just sit in them. So is there like a medium for you that you go to outside of comedy for that?
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, music is definitely still like very prevalent in my life, and I love like so many different genres of music, and I listen to music all the time. I also think like drama, like watching like drama movies, I still have, there's a piece of like my writer brain that still is like trying to process it, but those are easier for me to, I think, just sit back And because like when I'm watching a comedy, like I can watch the setup and then I'm gonna guess what the punchline is gonna be, and that's like, which in and of itself is like sometimes, because I love comedy so much, that game still makes it enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I still enjoy watching comedy, even if I can like predict punchlines sometimes. But with drama, I love like a really intense like psychological drama movie. I think just because that's so far from what I like. I also like, what's interesting, and a plus of this though, is I used to hate horror movies because I would be terrified. As everyone
I was scared of them.
Should be. Because they're horror.
Yeah.
And like a little kid getting like possessed is the scariest thing that actually could ever happen.
Yeah.
And I want to know, my very first date ever actually was to see The Conjuring, I believe.
Oh, wow. That's brave.
Yes. I thought I was.
Yeah.
And I soon learned. I went to go see The Conjuring with the girl that I liked, and it was like a group date. And genuinely, I was sitting on the floor holding her hand, crying. And that was kind of my little 13-year-old self.
Wow.
So that
She's still in the chair.
She's still in the chair.
the seat.
She's having a good time. Eating the popcorn.
Arm down. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm kind of ultimately just ruining her experience. Because everyone's like, oh, horror movies, she's going to get so scared and she's going to kiss you.
Yeah.
Not the case. Not the case. I would say my butt was stuck from like the popcorn grease on the floor. So ever since then, I have not liked horror movies. But since I became a writer, now when I watch horror movies from a writer's perspective, I can actually watch them because I'm looking for those clues. I'm watching it kind of
interesting,
like in an investigative way.
Okay. Yeah.
That can help me get through, because when I'm watching it and then I'm like, why would I choose to be scared?
Yeah.
This is horrifying.
Yeah.
So
yeah, no, that's actually a super interesting point. That's like when that happens with music too. It's like it does in some ways, to use a negative expression, it kind of ruins the experience of being a pure fan of the specific discipline that you're a part of.
Yeah.
But it does give you the keys to understand and appreciate other disciplines that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah.
So it's like I can listen to any genre of music, and even if it's something that I wouldn't listen to recreationally, or I might not even have discovered otherwise, if I'm listening to it, I can still appreciate the songwriting structure of it, appreciate the rhythm, how all those things. Yeah. You know what I mean? So but I haven't thought of that before. That actually, you kind of, you also gain the tools to appreciate a wide arena of art.
I mean, the biggest con is ultimately that then sometimes I sound like a film bro when I'm like talking. Yeah. Like some people are like, oh, that movie was great. And I'm like, well, the cinematography actually could have been a little more. They used a weird angle on that shot. I would have probably switched the lenses. Like you can be really annoying with it. But when you're in that safe space of other film bros in Los Angeles, then that can be a nice pretentious conversation that you have at home. Yeah.
Do you feel that like LA has kind of like rubbed off on you?
Yeah, I mean, do you see this freaking, this crop shirt? Yeah, I'd say Los Angeles. Also, wait, just side note, this is my girlfriend got me this shirt. Anytime I wear a shirt that people compliment, every single time, my girlfriend, who is a stylist, it's always my girlfriend's shirt, or she got it for me.
I mean, that's fair, though, she's a stylist.
Which I get, but like, I got drip. Yeah. You know what I mean? Which I said very convincingly. Everybody sobbing. Believes you. I have drip. Okay, what was I saying? Has LA changed me?
Yeah. After that.
No. Yes, I would say it has changed me. But not in any like fundamental, like, some people think like it'll change you. Yeah. But like not, and fundamentally I still definitely am me. Yeah. And I think anyone who people who grew up with me still see that within me. I think in terms of like the opportunities it's given me in like comedy and writing and acting and like that field, that's been obviously different about being in Los Angeles. And just like the people, like my brain is so wired now to not when I'm like here, I have to like switch, but I have to make a switch in my brain. Because when I'm in LA, like the assumption is you work in entertainment in some way. Like everyone works in entertainment.
Yeah.
Which can be kind of tiring.
Yeah.
Like everywhere you go, like I'm hanging out with a lot of comedy people and like those conversations are, everyone's always doing a lot of bits and being very silly because like, oh, well, this person runs a show. Maybe they'll put me on. And I don't think people consciously think that, but there is like a subconscious part of that of like anyone in any room at any time can provide me with an opportunity, can be a network that I can use later on. And which is different from like sometimes I enjoy coming back here just to like breathe and be like, oh, no one in this coffee shop is also working on a script.
Yeah. Definitely
and that's beautiful.
Yeah. I mean, this is the exact same parallel for Nashville with music.
Word. Like,
It's literally the same thing.
Yeah.
There's like I just read in a Nashville publication, there's like a term for how audiences at concerts in Nashville, there's a gap between the person in the front and the stage. Like it's not because there's a barricade, it's because it's Nashville. Like artists have noticed, like as they're touring, they know when they get to Nashville, I think it's called like the Nashville Gap or something like that. And it's like people are going to stand back from the stage a little bit.
Whoa.
And they're going to not be as like interested because they're doing the thing we talked about. They're also musicians. So they're like not pure fans. You know what I mean? You have to go to a city that is not one of the music industry cities to experience like pure. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Whoa, that's cool.
So it's like that same thing of where like, you know, you're like, okay, I'm in Nashville. Nobody in this coffee shop is working on a script.
Yeah.
It's like, but everybody in that coffee shop is working on a music project. Like every single
they're writing
everybody.
A song for Tim McGraw.
Yeah. Well, no, they wouldn't be in that coffee shop. Well, you know, they might own that coffee shop.
There we go.
Yeah. So okay, so a lot of people probably aren't familiar with like all of the work you've done. So what are some of your favorite like opportunities that you've gotten in the last few years?
Yeah. I mean, when I first got out to LA, it's funny because I was very fortunate to get a lot of like opportunities pretty early and pretty quickly, which like set me up to be like, this place is awesome. Like I like when I first got out there, I got to write for the People's Choice Awards.
Yeah.
Which that was my first job ever in LA, was writing for the People's Choice Awards. And
that's crazy.
It was insane.
Yeah.
I was out there for like a few months and then got that. And the host was Kenan Thompson.
Crazy.
Which was wild. Especially Good Burger was my family's favorite movie. So doing that, like that was hearing him, like I just moved to LA and was like, I don't know if I can make this work. And then a few months later, Kenan Thompson is on stage telling my joke, both on national television, but also like in the room are all the celebrities. So he like is making a Kim Kardashian joke to Kim Kardashian. And like The Rock is behind her, like laughing. And I'm like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
So I did that. And then I went and did the Kids' Choice Awards, which was also, that was awesome because writing for kids is like, you can't actually be smart.
Yeah.
Like I would write these punchlines and they'd be like, Xavier, no child is gonna, like, this is like too witty. You can't be like, so we'd have to like replace the punchlines with like Kersplat. And it's like Rob Gronkowski, like slimes Miranda Cosgrove. And it's like, and there we have it.
Yeah.
And they loved it. The kids ate it up.
Yeah.
And then I got to write on a Netflix show called Inside Job, which is like a adult animation, like workplace comedy show about like the shadow government. That was actually really cool. I think one of the reasons I got that job is because of being from the South and like,
really?
You know, because like in that interview we talked about, like they talk so much about background and what you're able to bring to the room. And I was very young. I was 23 at the time. And we were just like talking about like what, like I'd never really, I'd done the award shows, but no like full TV series. And we were talking about background and I brought up like being from the South and like knowing people who kind of have these beliefs about kind of shadow government, you know, can I have some conspiracy theory in my family? On the other side. Not this one. But so like getting into like that background and stuff and like that being something that I could bring to the table and that perspective that like we talked about at the very beginning, like a perspective that I am able to understand, which most other people who haven't spent time here and really been in this environment can, I think is one of the key things that like helped me get in that room to write for that show.
Yeah, just the diversity of experience, like I feel like is a superpower for creativity.
Yeah.
You also did Netflix's A Joke Fest. How was that?
Yeah.
I wanted to come to that, but we weren't able
to. No. You're good. Yeah. So on the stand-up side, it's funny because I moved to LA to do like TV writing and was doing a little bit of stand-up, but then there was like a strike and all this stuff. So like TV writing is in a terrible place right now.
What happened? Just remember what you were going to say, but what happens, like you move out there for TV writing and then there's a strike. What is the whole town doing like during that time? Like you said, everybody, you go in the coffee shop, everybody's working on a script. All right, now there's a strike. So what does everybody do?
Well, now you go to a coffee shop and everyone is working at the coffee shop. everyone is a barista at the coffee shop. I know it was
it's a
really
big coffee
weird.
Shop boom at the time, like
huge.
just popping up. Like
it truly was like everyone was like, I can't get hired at a coffee shop because everyone is working at a coffee. Like it's crazy. That's like the con of everyone working in this one industry. Is that when that's down, then everything's down. I mean, it was an interesting thing with the strike because, I was like, definitely was having momentum. Like I have a show that I was preparing to like take out and pitch to all these like companies and stuff. And then immediately it was just like, I had a meeting on a Friday and then on the Monday the strike was called. And then we're like, okay, we can't speak to you guys until the strike is over. So it's like, it's locked down. Fortunately, I then went on to work. I worked on a digital sketch series, which is like because it was like being released on YouTube and stuff. Like it doesn't fall under the union rules. So
makes sense.
For the next few months, I worked on like a sketch show that we had that we now have put out with a TikTok guy, and he like has his own like production company and stuff, and is like wanted to shoot a sketch show, and so I joined the team and we put the show together and, made like 40 sketches and like 8 episodes and all this stuff. Then I did that. But in the meantime, I was working on a lot of stand up. And so, fortunately was like getting momentum in the stand up space and had an audition and then was selected for like the Netflix's A Joke Festival. Which is
so you had an audition cool. for that?
Yeah. Cause it was an interesting thing where like, I was selected as one of like the kind of like, there's a like class of like up and coming people that it was part of. And there was like an even smaller class that they were like introduced for like this big showcase. But I was selected as part of this like class, I think of like 50 comics to go and like feature on these shows for Netflix's A Joke Fest. And that was really cool. Cause also like one, doing the shows was great, but also like the networking that you're able to get and like the after parties. Like I would just show up at an after party and then like you'd see, this was right when,
please don't say Diddy.
It was incredible networking. People were inviting me to their house. But LA has not changed me at all. This was, Baby Reindeer. Did you see that?
Oh yeah. The show.
Yeah.
I did. No, I saw the whole thing. Yeah.
But like they like just like pulled up. Yeah. They just like pulled up to the after party and like crazy. A bunch of like huge people from all the headliners and stuff are just like popping this. You're like seeing all these huge people who you obviously have only ever seen on TV.
Are they actually from the UK?
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, so that was cool. A bunch of like reality show, a bunch of like the Love Island. Oh, not Love Island. Love Is Blind people were there.
Oh,
so. Yeah, I shared my thoughts on what they should have done right. But I mean, that was cool. And just talking with like just hanging out with other comics, particularly like as I definitely am very much still like up and coming. And so getting to hang on a peer level with these people who have definitely like made it or definitely are like above me in terms of like where they are in their careers was a super cool opportunity. And because of that, there was like a week or two of that and it was like crazy, and LA was just packed for a whole week. And that's what led to like I got an agent off of that because they saw me there. I then started doing headlining shows at the Improv in LA and stuff like that. So I mean, just like getting more eyes and really like more getting to rub shoulders with more people was a sick opportunity.
Yeah. This is just a question that I want to know. Who are some of your favorite comedians?
Oh, every time I get asked this question, I can't think of a single comedian. Okay, but I got this. I will actually say most of the time when I'm asked this question, my answer, which surprises a lot of people, is Michelle Wolf.
Okay.
I've watched like a lot of her old stuff a lot of times. I just love, she acknowledges she has quite a shrill voice. So sometimes watching through it is a lot. But I just like joke structure, I think she's incredible at joke structure. Like that's the time where I'm watching just like in awe at someone's expertise. Yeah. In terms of like how they understand the craft. Same with like Neil Brennan. Yeah. Who's incredible.
Yeah,
and he's just like so, and he's so like, has like this calm confidence because he just knows from like all of his years and like working on like Chappelle Show and all this stuff. Like he just understands comedy so well. Yeah.
He's super artistic too. Like the one where he has the 3 mics set up.
Yeah.
Like that special was crazy. I was like, I've never seen anything.
No, it's super
like
cool.
That.
It's super cool. I also love, I mean, just when I'm feeling like chaotic, I love watching Cat Williams just sweating across the stage. Just,
no matter what, it's gonna be a fun watch.
It's gonna be crazy.
There's no way for you to just sit there like and be on your phone like while Cat Williams is on stage.
But yeah, and I mean even like the like younger crew like Taylor Tomlinson. I don't know if you, she's like maybe 30 and has like 3 Netflix specials and is like host of a show and is like she also is so just like structurally really understands comedy. So it's like stuff like that I like. I think the people I admire the most in comedy are the people who I like will sit there and just like just take in like, oh, that's how you set up that type of joke. Like that's like the people I enjoy watching like comedy specials the most are people where I'm watching and I feel like I've like learned how to do comedy better. By the end of it.
Because a lot of people now like they don't necessarily know about like you said like the science and like the structure of a joke. I think even and I'm just a fan of comedy. I'm not like a comedian, but I think in kind of like the podcast era where like there's a lot of people who they have a podcast and they're kind of funny and then they're doing stand up. Like sometimes you watch that and it's like they have a cult fan base. So the fan base is there and they're like, this person is funny and it's cool, but it's like, that's a different thing than somebody who like actually writes jokes.
Yeah. Being a funny person and being a comedian are not the same thing. And I think there are a lot of, with like social media and stuff, there's a lot of people who are funny people and then they get opportunities to be a comedian. And I mean, people like, I'm not gonna, people can enjoy what they enjoy. But like for me, that's not what I want to watch because I'm like, okay, well but that's not even like you said this like funny buzzword, so people are gonna laugh. But that's not structurally how you should have like set that up. Which again, whenever I talk like this, I feel a little like
you feel pretentious.
I feel like annoying. But like that's like kind of my like I love thinking about like okay, like as I'm like putting together like set lists and stuff, I'm like by this point the audience has this information. This is the context I've given them. This is like, we're in Nashville. That's more context. How will they approach this joke? Like, so I'm going into setting up this joke with all of that in mind so that I can try to lead the audience, in the way that I need to get them to think I'm going that way so that I can kind of pull the rug and take them a different direction.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with music. Like you were talking about, especially the point of like people can enjoy what they enjoy. Like I actually... Especially more.
You love Drake, I believe. Is that? And we have that on?
Listen,
you're famously kind of Drake over Kendrick.
I was not gonna. I'm not. We're not using the D word. Okay.
Okay.
What I was gonna say is that like, I was gonna say Kendrick. I love Kendrick Lamar, right?
Yeah.
And I personally also really enjoy Soulja Boy. I always have. Right. But these are two different things that's going on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I see that as kind of like the discussion you were just talking about with comedy. It's like, bro, if you are somehow nostalgically connected to Soulja Boy like I am, and you appreciate how he kind of is a disruptor in his own right, and that makes you enjoy the music, like, of course, enjoy that. Like, I don't want to be a music snob in that. But obviously, like, when we're talking song structure, we're talking lyricism, we're talking concepts, like
Soulja Boy is better.
right. Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah, like this is a different thing. And so I think for people who might be a little bit like more attuned to that, like that music example, that's kind of what we're talking about with comedy too. It's like, yeah, man, like as artists, we don't want to be snobs, but there is a science and there is mechanics like to what we do.
Yeah.
That is different than, you're just a funny guy. Oh, you should get up and bro, you should get up and do stand up. You know what I mean? Like, it's a whole different thing.
I mean, that's even a thing of like being a comedian. So many people, like, something funny will happen and they'll be like, that's gonna be in your that's your set.
There it is.
Well, you should probably send that to SNL. Okay, well, that's not how that works.
First of all,
but
hey, yo, Lauren.
But they like think that like something funny will happen. I'm like, but in order to tell that story, I have to, again, it's about the audience's expectation. I have to provide so much context to the audience to get them to understand this thing so I can tell them this funny story because someone fell.
Yeah.
But it's like, it also can just be funny that someone fell in this moment.
Yeah.
And I don't have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Stage,
it's like, it's the phenomenon of that everybody's experience of something happened really funny. And
you try to tell someone?
And you try to tell somebody, right? Like you're with your friend, y'all, it happened and you both were there.
Yeah.
Right? And you want to tell your third friend. You want to tell this other person. And you guys can't even get the story out because you're laughing so much. And then you tell the story and the person's like, oh, yeah. And you're like, and everybody, oh, you had to be there.
Yeah.
And it's like, you had to be there jokes are always you had to be there jokes. Like they don't translate, like some of them don't translate to the stage that way just because like you said, somebody can just fall, like, you know what I mean?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how to give all this content. Well, they were actually carrying a plate, and it's funny because we had ordered something different. Okay, well, they're bored.
Yeah.
No one's listening to all that.
Yeah, I was like watching your show last night. Like there was, and if we need to edit this out afterwards, you just tell me. But I don't think we care. But there was a point where you mixed up characters. You were going for your grandfather and you went for your dad.
Yeah.
And you were talking about rhythm in comedy and you said dad, which messes the whole context of the joke up.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about your super conservative grandfather and then your dad who was on this podcast.
Yes.
Who like people have seen and like that doesn't work for him.
I was talking about my white conservative grandfather and mix him up for my black father. Yeah.
And so you mix it up, you stop, you tell everybody, okay, I just mixed it up. And then you're like, you know what? I'm not even going to do it because the rhythm is so, is like off there. And I see a parallel with that with like, with music. Like, I mean, literally like rhythm. It's like, you like went away from that little part of the story and then you went back to the bigger story you were telling. Yeah. But you even acknowledged from stage, you felt like even the bigger story did not hit as well as it would have if you didn't mix up your dad and your grandfather. Yeah. And like that rhythm is part of kind of the like the science and the mechanics of what we're talking about.
No, absolutely. I mean, that was very funny. I mean, in that moment I was like, it's not that punchline is like crucial to like get this bigger thing, but it does set up like it's I mean, a huge thing also is just like the momentum of it. Like in a lot of like when I have like a longer bit that I'm doing where like, and by that I mean like if I have my notebook, I'll write down like one word and I know like, okay, if I write down theater kid, that means like 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes of jokes that and I've meticulously ordered things to set up in a way that it's like building. And by the end, it's the huge like climax, big punchline for that bit. And it's not that like that specific like punchline fully messed up that whole bit, but it is like the momentum of like the train that's chugging along and is supposed to be building up to get to a certain point when it falls at that point, then it's like an awkward trying to get back to the big moment.
Yeah. It was like seeing it in real time. I felt like I learned so much because I mean, one of the reasons that I respect and am such a fan of stand up is as like a person who's on stage, like rapping, I know that every element that is taken away from what I'm used to on stage, I feel more anxiety, more naked, basically more vulnerable. So like I'm on stage, the track's going, you know, I got my in-ears, I got my DJ at least, usually drummer as well, right? Lights and visuals. That's when I feel the most comfortable. Each element that you take away, there's more and more anxieties to the point where the most anxiety that I can have on stage is a cappella. A planned a cappella between two songs is different, but I'm saying like the music goes out, or there's an electrical problem or something like that. Man, this is so different from how you're supposed to experience my art that there's a level of anxiety that comes up with it. So like stand-up comedians, I'm like, you guys come out on stage just with what I feel like is naked, like nothing. It's just you and the mic, you know? And it's like, the thing with music at least is I actually feel like audiences are more kind to music because it's like, well, at the end of the day, we can at least just kind of groove and talk.
Yeah.
We can talk to each other, and the music can be playing as background music, and we can leave, and we still say we had a good time.
Yeah.
Audience to stand-up comedian is like, hey, make us laugh, or you failed.
Yeah.
Like you suck. There's no like. It can't be background noise. It can't be, I was enjoying the vibe of him doing his set. No, you can't do that. You know what I mean? And so I don't know. I just have like a lot of respect. And so like watching you kind of go through that, I was like, okay, so I'm listening to you in real time, kind of just like talk. You didn't mean to be talking shop, but you're like, nah, I'm not going to do that. And then you said like, this would have hit so much better if like I didn't mix those up. And I was like, dang, man, there's a lot to like, even more than what I thought to consider when you're on stage, like as a stand-up.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a lot, especially like the longer sets that you're doing. It also is funny. Yeah. Like if people aren't having a good time at comedy, they're just not having a good time. There was one table of like 4 black women sitting like on the corner of the stage. And I kept looking over at them and I was like, I'm so sorry to be letting you. In my head, I was like, oh, my queens, my Nubian queens. Yeah. I'm so sorry to let you down like this.
There was like where I was sitting like in the middle. So I saw that table. And then there was like a table over here who had 2, like an older white couple.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw them. It was opposite of the table you're talking about, like kind of on the corner. And they were just like stone faced. Like, like 98% of the time they were stone faced, right? And then
thanks for bringing that up.
But
they actually weren't enjoying the show.
I'm about to make it worse.
Okay.
And then but Amber got them to crack up.
No,
you didn't, but Amber did. And it was I couldn't figure it because I thought maybe they were that way because like like the content of the jokes or something like that. But she said something that I was like, they're gonna hate that. And they were laughing. I was like, I don't know what's going on with them, but I just know that like, I don't know, comedy. It feels like there's nowhere to hide.
Yeah, no, it definitely is tough. And I mean, and in those moments, I think the worst thing to do, I like in the moments about like messing up and like flubbing a word or something, I take the route of like, I'll like acknowledge it and kind of like make a joke about it or like try to be just like, whatever funny about it in the moment. Like, cause to me that helps be even more present. Like part of me, I'm not happy when moments like that happen, but like, it is like, wow, that's for the audience. It's like, this is a real moment of us all being present here together. Like sometimes if I do a set and I do it word for word all the way through and it's just like, there's not a moment of like real connection with the audience, then I feel like it doesn't hit as hard versus like, no, we're all in this room. If a joke doesn't land, sometimes it's nice because then you get that moment of like, we're all in this moment together. And then that's when I'm kind of like, well, then, hey, why don't we all just try to have a good time and let's smile?
Yeah. I think you did that masterfully last night. I know exactly what you're talking about. And I think you did, like, even though things didn't go exactly how you planned, like, and it was literally like 2 things didn't go exactly how you planned, like that, the way that the crowd like loved when you did that too. Like when you acknowledged it and then like kind of like played into it. It like kind of breaks this like wall of like performer and viewer. And it's like, oh, we're all in this room laughing together. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like none of us are safe from the levity almost. Like, I'm not even like, I'm with you guys in this, type thing. It was great. Everybody was, except that one table. That one table hated it. Like,
yeah, they're not coming back. I got them banned.
All right.
Pictures on the wall.
They gave me the wrap it up sign, so that means it's time to enter the control room.
Whoa.
Yes, sir. Dude, the control room. You're in trouble.
All buttons like appear on the screen.
Yeah, no, they won't.
Okay. But I'm going to make life harder for the editor. And I push that button.
For Athanasios, he's not doing it. He's not going to do it.
And then I shoot off in a rocket ship in my chair. You got this? All right. Awesome. Thank you.
All right. So I'm going to ask you rapid fire questions, and you just have to answer the first thing that comes to your mind.
I'm terrified. Okay.
All right. What's the most embarrassing thing you've ever done in public that you're willing to admit?
Okay. I one time was at this soccer camp and I picked up poop from the toilet.
Okay.
But it was my friends. I was dared. They were like, Xavier, how much would you? They were like, Xavier, if I paid you $20 to pick up poop from the toilet, I was like, duh. And but they're like, oh, what if can I also pay if I, so then my friends all collectively, you can cut this.
Yeah. No, we're keeping it.
No, I'll push that button, we'll cut it. They all collectively pooped in the toilet. Yeah, okay. So kind of a group, it was kind of collaboration project.
How much you make?
And I made like $50.
Okay.
So.
Yeah. All right. Hey, that's it. What's your go-to dance move when nobody's watching?
Oh, when nobody's watching? Yeah. I've been really hidden, like, I don't know the exact word, like, when I'm, like, dropping it on the floor. I'm on all fours, and I'm, like, popping it back and, like, lowering down. Okay. You know what should I, do the cameras catch this? You don't want to see it? Oh, you were gonna do it? No. We don't have to.
Yeah, okay.
I'll push that button and we'll
what's the strangest talent you have that no one knows about?
Oh, strangest talent that I have. That no one knows about? I'm really, I was going to say pickleball, but I talk about pickleball all the time, so people know about it. And I'm pretty freaking good. Strangest talent that people, I don't know. I don't know why I'm screaming.
It's okay. The control room comes for everybody.
Yeah, this is crazy.
All right, we're moving on.
Okay, please.
All right, favorite No Big Deal lyric.
Oh God, no. The time has come for deal to, let's see. It's my lyric, my the Hooligan lyric.
Yep. All right.
I want to go. I actually texted. The "Go with the Ghost" is probably my favorite No Big Deal song.
That's true.
And I did text you. So go with the ghost.
All right. Okay. So all right. And finally, what specific problem do you have with John Keith?
Interesting. I guess I'll. Probably the way that he. When I say the way that he looks,
yes,
you know what I mean. I don't mean
for sure.
I don't mean like his physical appearance. Like if he was like just standing there, I wouldn't make fun of that. But the way that he like look, like particularly when he like gets like in it, and he's like. When he and Dustin are like going back and forth, and he's like, just like really into it. I think because I can see like the stubbornness.
Yeah.
And I think the kind of him when he becomes the physical manifestation of stubbornity.
Yeah.
I think is when
it makes you want to drown him in a pool.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, your go-to move.
Yeah, bring it back.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been Creative Control. Thank y'all so much. We'll see y'all next time.
Thank you. Peace.